Greetings. My name is Brent. Myself, along with Brian Fair, are your DRI Environmental Health and Safety team. At the time this video is being recorded in early January 2022, there's been some new guidance from our public health authorities about, because of the Omicron variant of COVID-19, that we all need to be upgrading our masks and wearing better masks. This video is about what that means and how to do that. Many of us, in order to go into public places in Nevada and also in California, have been wearing cloth face coverings for the last several months, actually years at this point. Unfortunately, for the Omicron variant, it does not appear that cloth face coverings really provide good enough source control or infection control, and so while they still are sort of a minimum thing that you need to be wearing in order to be in public places, I'm going to talk about some of the additional things that you might want to wear now instead of cloth face coverings, or maybe in addition to them. The first one I will cover is surgical masks. And for a surgical mask, you need a minimum 3 plies. Most surgical masks that you get online will be a minimum 3 ply. One of the most important things about these is that they have a white side and a blue side, as you see. The blue side is the one that should always face out toward other people, and the white side is the one that should face toward yourself. The other thing you'll notice about surgical masks is that they have a little metal strip on one side, and the other side does not. The metal strip side is the one that will always be over your nose, for the reasons that I'm going to show you here. That's the one that kind of form fits to your face, and in fact you might want to sort of gently bend the surgical mask a little bit before you put it on. And then once you have it on, this is the important thing. In order to minimize gaps in it, you need to sort of gently, starting from the edges, not from the nose, you need to sort of gently start forming that metal strip to the shape of your nose. And if you do this, you're going to have reasonably good source control, meaning that if you have COVID, your aerosols, your coughs, your exhalations are not likely to get out and possibly affect others. Now, with that being said, surgical masks are not actual respirators. They don't protect you from airborne aerosols to the degree that some of the respirators I'm going to go over in just a second do. But that's what surgical masks are. That's how you should be wearing them. Next, I'm going to talk about filtering face piece respirators. Because these are actual respirators, they provide a much higher degree of protection than a cloth mask or a surgical mask will do. And when possible, if you're going to be in any situations around other people, I would recommend that you wear one of these types of respirators in lieu of a surgical mask or a cloth mask. There are 3 main categories of disposable respirators that I'm going to talk about: the N95, the KN95, and the KF94. These are all certified by different governing agencies. N95s are certified by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, or NIOSH, here in the US. KN95s are certified by sort of the NIOSH equivalent in China, and then KF94 respirators are certified by the Occupational Safety and Health governing bodies of South Korea. The first thing I will say about these respirators is that if you need one, Environmental Health and Safety has them. You can go to my office in Las Vegas or Brian Fair's office up in Reno, and you can pick up some. Let's talk about the N95s first. Now, the first thing I will say about these is that, again, if you get an actual N95 that's certified by NIOSH, it'll have the NIOSH approval number on it, the TC, and then like a 7-digit number. There are some counterfeit N95s floating around out there, even some reputable sellers like Amazon. Some of the N95s they sell are not legitimate. The best way to make sure you get a legitimate N95 respirator is to buy it from 3M. Is probably the company that has been doing this for the longest time, and you will always get a quality NIOSH certified product when you buy from 3M. So you can buy 3M respirators. This is the 8210 model, the most common and least expensive of the N95s that they make. You can get these from Amazon, you can get them from Grainger, you can get them from Lab Safety Supply and several other places, or you can get them from Environmental Health and Safety. The 8210 will have this metal band on the top of it. And just like I talked about earlier with the surgical masks, the point of the metal band is to sort of help the respirator fit your face a little bit better. So, first thing, metal band always goes toward the nose. I have seen people wearing these things upside down before. Don't do that. Make sure that the metal band, and not only does it have a metal band, it's also got this little sort of extra padding up here that's supposed to go around your nose. Now the trick to wearing an N95 respirator is that it's got two straps on it. These straps have to go, the bottom one goes below your ear, the top one goes above your ear. And so you put it on like this, and it does mess up your hair a little bit in the process, but you carefully feel it to make sure that the bottom strap is below your ear and the top strap is above. Again, it's not going to make a good seal against your face if both straps are below your ears or above your ears, or if the straps are crisscrossed where the top one is below, the bottom one is above. Once you have it on, what you'll probably notice is when you exhale, you're going to feel a little bit of a tickle of air in your eyes. That's because you haven't adjusted the nose piece yet. Now, the most common thing to do if you're going to the most common error that people make when they're trying to fit an N95 is they will squeeze the nose immediately. That's not the way you should do this. The way you should do this is you start at this end of the metal strip and gently start pressing inward, trying to make the thing fit your nose. You don't start at the bridge, you start down here, because you don't really want to have it tented up here. You want to have sort of gently rolled. And once you do that, you should feel it fitting your face a little bit better. You shouldn't feel air coming up into your eyeballs now. And if you do that, you've got a pretty good fit. Another thing I will say about N95s is that these straps will break after a few uses. They're kind of the weak point of N95. These were never designed to be continuously used. Due to supply chain issues that happened during COVID, people have had to reuse their N95s, and that's fine. I mean, they're not going to get saturated in the ways that we're likely to use them here at DRI. But what is going to happen is, every time you stretch them in order to take them off, these bands only have so many stretches on them before they break. So if you're going to use N95s for your respiratory protection, when you're working at DRI, when you're riding on a plane between Vegas and Reno, whatever the case might be, you probably always want to have a spare, because eventually this will break on you and you'll want to have another either N95 or a different type of respirator to lean on in the event that happens. So next I will talk about the KN95 respirator. They're fundamentally different than the N95s because instead of having straps that go behind the head that keep the mask pulled tight, they've got straps that go around, that loop around your ears. So that means fundamentally they're never going to be quite as tight against your face, but that also means that they're maybe a little bit more comfortable and easier to wear for long periods of time. So this is what KN95s look like when they come out of the package. They will have the little KN95 insignia on them. They will be flat. They actually come packaged flat, which is not the case with N95s. These will always be kind of cup-shaped. And KN95s, they work reasonably well. Again, the fit won't be quite as tight as with an N95, but they kind of have comfort advantages as a result of that. The most important thing if you're going to wear a KN95 is, first thing you do is open it up, but before you put it on, put your thumb in here and kind of flatten the little point that's made by the metal strap up here. Flatten it just a little bit. You don't want it to be, again, you don't want to form a tent. You want to kind of bend it a little bit before you put the mask on. If you don't do that, what happens is you put on the mask and, okay, this is better than nothing, but there's a lot of leakage that's happening up the top of this because it's, again, it's like tinted up here. So before you put on a KN95, again, just sort of gently with your thumb, try to flatten that metal strap a little bit, which has naturally been bent. And then you put on gently around the, make sure that it fits well down here below your chin. And now, just like you did with the surgical mask and with the N95, make sure to gently press on this metal strip, starting from the ends, and have it form to your face. And if you do that, these KN95s, I mean, some people are not comfortable with the way it pulls on your ears, but it's a lot less pressure with these than there is with the N95, so some people find these to be very comfortable. But that is how you put on a KN95 and how you wear it. And again, if it's well-fitting, when you exhale, you should feel minimal or no wind up on your eyelashes or in your eyes. And that means that it's on your face pretty well. It's going to provide not just source control, but also protect you from airborne aerosols that might contain Omicron COVID-19 particles. And the other good thing about KN95s is that they're a little bit easier to get on and off, and they also will last a little bit longer because these straps on them don't have as much strain as the N95s do, so these are less likely to break on you. I mean, you should always have a spare with you, at least one spare, maybe two, in the event of breakage, but it's a little bit less likely with the KN95. The last one I will talk about, which I don't have an example with me, I just have a picture, is the KF94 respirators, which are manufactured and certified in South Korea. And this is what a KF94 respirator kind of looks like. It's fairly similar to the KN95 in that it fits over the ears. It kind of, as you can see though, there's a little bit of there's kind of three sections to it, three segments. So it's kind of a modification of the KN95 that some people find to be very comfortable. And it fits pretty much the same way as the KN95 in that you put it on, then you gently fit the strap on the top to the strip on the top in order to fit the contours of your nose, and if you do that, you'll get a good fit. The thing I'll say with KF94s is that people with smaller faces tend to find they get a better fit with a KF94 than with the KN95 or an N95. So if you're petite, you might want to consider a KF94. Make sure if you order one that they're ones that are manufactured in South Korea. There are some counterfeit editions that come from places like India and China. You know, those will not be certified by the appropriate governing bodies and might not fit as well. So just make sure that you're getting good ones. I have some of these ordered. We will be getting them in Las Vegas and Reno soon. So pretty soon we will have all three types of respirators, N95s, KN95s, and KF94s available to you. And my recommendation will be, as long as this Omicron is running through our populations, is that not just here at DRI in public areas, but if you're in any public areas, movie theaters, grocery stores, that you try to upgrade your mask if at all possible with actual non-counterfeit editions of the N95, the KN95, or the KF94. So that's it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, Brent Weber, or to Brian Fair. We'll try to answer those questions. Stay safe and healthy out there,